Hello students, how are you all? PU board has released a 3 model question paper for computer science subject. So today's session will be discussing about the model question paper 2. So you can just see here model question paper 2. So the entire question paper along with the answers will be discussing today. So without further delay, we'll start with the section A, that's going to be MCQs. So section A, I have told you in the model question paper 1 when I had taken that session. So it's very important that whenever you are writing MCQs, fill in the blanks, it's very important that you leave one line gap and then you write the answers along with the options, and remember that you answer section wise. So all the sections, for example, section A, write all the answers, then section B, all the answers, and section C. So if you don't know the answers, so you can leave that space blank and then continue with the section C, and then you can continue with section D. Okay, so this is going to be the best option, so it is easy for the evaluator also to allocate the marks for you. Okay, so we'll start with the section A, that's going to be 1 marker. So which one of the following transfers 8 bits of data at a time? 8 bits of data, sorry. So we'll just enable the pen here. So which one of the following transferred 8 bits of data at a time? So simultaneously we can transfer multiple bits here. That's going to be the parallel part. Sorry, parallel port. So serial port is what? 1 bit at a time. Okay, 1 bit by bit we can tell. So what is parallel port? Parallel port means 8 bits of data simultaneously we can transfer. So the next question is idempotent clause states that. Idempotent clause means what? The same value, identity. Okay, the same values. So same values, if it is multiplied or if it is added, it's going to result in the same value. Same values mean what? X into X, X plus X. So idempotent clause states that X into X equals to X only. That is what idempotent law. So given the logic diagram, the output is, I think it's very clear what is logic diagram. Logic diagram is basically an electronic circuit that takes one or more input signal and produces a single output. So it's going to be a single output. So it should be either it's going to be C or D. So this is going to be what type of gate? This is going to be an XOR gate. What? This is going to be an XOR gate, exclusive OR. For different input, the output is going to be 1. It's same input, no output should be 0, right? Simple. The answer is C. The answer is C. So we'll go to the next question. What is this fourth question? Statement says array is a collection of homogeneous elements. Array is a collection of homogeneous elements. That means same kind of data type. Elements should belong to same data type. So statement B, array is an example for non-linear data structure. So this is going to be true. Okay, definitely it's in homogeneous elements only. So array is an example for non-linear data structure. So definitely it's a linear data structure, that's going to be false. So true or false? So the answer is this. A is true and B is false. Okay, so we'll go to the next question. So question D, question 5, identify the syntax error in the following program segment. So we have a class definition here called box, and we have a main function box B. You can just see here there is an int x here and the semicolon is missing. Semicolon is missing right after the declaration of variable. So we'll just look at the errors. After class definition, so it is there. Error due to semicolon missing at the data member declaration line. Data member declaration only, the semicolon is missing. So answer is B. Which of the following statements are correct respect to the function overloading? So function overloading means what? Functions having same name but differ, at least differing in the number of arguments or at least by the data type, right? So let's look at the options. Functions names are same, it is true. Number of arguments should be different, so this is going to be false. Number of arguments are different, true. Data type of arguments are different, so this is true. So 1, 3 and 4 are right. So what is this? 1, 3, 4 means option C is the right answer. So we'll go to the seventh question. Seventh question, which constructor does not accept any argument? So which construct does not accept any arguments? So this is going to be default only, no? Default constructor is also known as zero argument constructor, isn't it? So default constructor does not accept any arguments. Another name for derived class. Another name for derived class is subclass, and rest of them are basic classes only. So another name for derived class is subclass. Which one of the following is unsupported C++ expression with respect to the pointer? PTR. So you can add a value to the pointer. Okay, you can subtract a value from the pointer. You can increment a pointer, this is also allowed, but you cannot multiply a pointer with some value. So this is not accepted. So this is going to be not supported by the C++ expression with respect to pointers. Each column of a table is identified by a distinct header. So distinct header means what? It's basically the attribute. Okay, so record and tuple both are same. Okay, so domain is basically a list of values in a attribute in a column. We'll go to the next question. Which one of the following command belongs to DQL? DQL is data query language. What is DQL? DQL is data query language. Select is DQL command. Select is DQL command. DQL is data query language. For querying, we'll use select only, right? So we'll go to the 12th question. Correct expansion form of TCP. Okay, TCP is Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol. We have, this is the main protocol that is used for the internet. So Transmission Control Protocol. Just they've asked TCP only. Transmission Control Protocol, not program. It is Transmission Control Protocol. So we'll go to the 13th question. Example for full duplex. There will be different question from the communication mode or the transmission mode. It's simplex, half duplex and full duplex. Full duplex means what? Communication takes place from both ends simultaneously. So the answer is telephone. Answer is telephone. So we'll go to the next question. That's going to be which one of the following is not a web browser? Netscape Internet Explorer is a web browser. Netscape Navigator is a web browser. Google Chrome is a web browser. Telnet is not a web browser. It's a protocol that is used to access a remote computer. Okay, so Telnet is the answer for this question. So Telnet is the answer. So Telnet is the answer for this question. We'll go to the 15th question. Who invented the HTML? HTML is hypertext markup language invented by Tim Berners-Lee. Who? Tim Berners-Lee. We'll go to the fill in the blanks now. So process data is called what? Process data is called information. Dash is an example for DBMS software. So the option we have to select. Oracle is an example for DBMS, database management system software. Hierarchical data model organizes the data in dash-like structure. Remember, hierarchical means tree-like structure. Whether you consider hierarchical inheritance, whether you consider hierarchical data model, it's going to be tree-like structure. Then we have 19th question. Dash symbol is used to represent a relation. Relation is represented by diamond, no? So it is represented by diamond. Dash key is a field in the relational table that matches the primary key column of another table. So you're trying to relate one table with another table, definitely what? It's the foreign key. So foreign key is a field in the relational table that matches the primary key column of another table. So we'll just see here. So process data is called information. This is going to be the 16th one. 17th one is going to be an oracle. So next we have a hierarchical. This is going to be 18, and then 19th one we have as, okay, relation, which is the symbol used for relation in the ER model. Then we have what? Relation between two tables, right? So this is going to be 20. So we don't have anything related to graph there. Clear? So we'll just go to the next section. So we'll start with a section B, that's going to be 2 markers. So we have a first question here. Prove algebraically that xy plus xy bar is equals to x. So here remember that if they have asked you to prove algebraically, means algebraically only, not using truth table method nor using proof by induction method also. So how can you prove this? X y plus x y bar. So take x common here. So we have y plus y bar is there. So you know that y plus y bar is equals to 1, complementary law we have it. So this is going to be 1 using complementary law. X into x is equals to x only, no? So we have proved x. So it is proved x. So LHS is equals to RHS. So we are happy we get, isn't it? LHS is equals to RHS. So we'll just go to the next question. So next question is realize OR gate using NOR gate. So let's just write the OR gate, no? So OR gate, how do we write it? So this is how we write OR gate. So I have to make it NOR now. So how will I make it NOR? So for OR, you negate it. For OR, you negate it. Not means what? Negate only, no? So for this, I'm supposed to derive an OR gate here. So what is this? It's AB. What is the output of OR gate? NOR gate. This is, of course, everything should be NOR gate only. This is also NOR gate only. What is the output of this? It is nothing but addition only. That means OR gate and negate it. A plus B, I've added it and I've negated it. So it is twice now. So it is A plus B negation. This is one term. Okay, this is add. I have to do it because it's NOR only. A plus B negated. I have added both the terms and then complete negation. This negation is for that outer bar. So what is x plus x? X plus x is equal to x only, no? So A plus B, it's that only. So I'm going to put 2 bars here. So you know that bar gets cancelled due to what? Involution law. Involution law is also known as double inversion law. So bar will be cancelled and we'll be getting the answer as A plus B. What is A plus B? A plus B is nothing but OR. That is what we wanted, no? So done. So if you write so much, so you'll be getting 2 marks very easily. So we'll go to the 23rd question. What is a constructor? Give an example. Constructor is what? A special member function which is having same name as that of the class name, which is used to initialize the class members, isn't it? So what is constructor? Is a special member function used to initialize the objects of its class. And whenever an object is declared, the constructor invokes automatically. Okay, that is about the features or the rules of writing the constructor and all. So they've not asked the rules here for 2 markers, just the definition and example. So this whole thing is the class definition here. And what is this? Member function only, no? Function only, no? Which is having same name as that of the class, right? Okay, it is declared under public. No, this is constructor syntax. An example is what? They've taken a class called test. They've taken a class called test. There are 2 variables x and y here. What is test? Test is a function which is having same name as that of the class name. It is basically a constructor now. What type of constructor? Default constructor. No arguments here. I've initialized the class variables. I have initialized the variables. Okay, x equals to 0, y equals to 0. And in the main function, we have declared an object. What happens when object is declared? Automatically, the constructor is getting invoked. If you write so much, no, definitely will get an answer. Definitely will get 2 marks. Properly written. Okay, we'll start with the next question. Differentiate between put function and get function. So put function belong to a class called OFStream class, and we have a get function. Get function belongs to a class called ifstream class. Okay, so get function is to read something, right? It reads a character into the variable ch. Whatever the character that is present, let's consider it, they have declared one variable ch here. So it basically to read whatever you enter, no, it reads that character and stores in that variable. Is the point clear? Next, what we have put function. Put function, it's going to write something. It's going to display something on the screen, I can tell you. So writes the character stored in ch. So whatever we have declared a variable called ch here. So this character we can either display on the monitor. Since it is file related, we can also say that it writes a single character on the file. Okay, into the file. It's basically we can write a single character to the file. We can also read a single character from the file. For reading purpose, we make use of a get function for single character. For writing something single character to the file, we call it as a put function. Put function belongs to a class called OFStream class. Get function belongs to a class called ifstream class. So they have just declared one variable ch here, a they have taken it, and they've opened a function. They have opened a file called sample.txt using a constructor method, and they've just written this character to the file called sample.txt. Similarly, we have a character called ch. They've opened a function for in the input mode. Sample.txt is the file name, and you're reading a single character from the file. That is called getch. Is the point here? So whatever the character that is read, no, it is stored in ch now. Clear? So that's the difference between put function and get function. So we'll go to the next slide. That's any two applications of databases. So this question is frequently asked. Any two applications you can write: banking, college, sales, telecommunication, human resources, airline, rail reservation, airline reservation, any kind of database applications along with few lines if you write it, that's more than enough for 2 marks. Okay, so we'll go to the 26th question. Explain any two arithmetic operators in SQL. Very simple question. Arithmetic operators only they have given it. So it's addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus operator. That's going to give you the reminder. So you can just mention, and then you can just write it. It's used for addition, subtraction, multiplication. Explain is there, no? So just add some few statements here. So we'll go to the 27th question. So compare, delete, and drop. Compare, delete, and drop command in SQL. So delete is basically a DML command. Delete is basically a DML command. Drop is a DDL command. It's in case of drop, the entire table gets dropped along with the structure of the table. We will not be able to insert any tuples to the table later once we drop it. Used to delete the database, we can delete the database also, we can delete the table also, but once the table is deleted, you cannot insert any more tuples to the tables. With respect to the tables only I'm telling. And with respect to the delete operation, delete command, the whole content of the table gets deleted, structure of the table still remains. That means we can insert the tuples still because the structure of the table exists. So this is a DML command. It's a DDL command. Clear? Okay, students, we'll start with the section C. That's going to be 3 markers. So explain the characteristics of motherboard. Very important. Remember, it's the characteristics. You need to write about the form factor, chipset, and the processor socket, not with respect to the types of motherboard. Students usually get confused with that. So form factor, remember to use the keyword here. Motherboard geometry, dimensions, you need to use the keyword here. And in case of chipset, you need to remember the keyword is coordinate the data transfer between the various components of the system. And processor socket, it's basically a place we can mount the processor, right? That is called as processor socket. So we have a next question. What is non-primitive data type? Okay, non-primitive data type, but the non-primitive data structure means what? Primitive means the data type. Primitive is basically what I can tell. It's a data structure wherein which is operated by the machine level instructions. Non-primitive means which depends on the primitive data structure. So example what? Example is going to be an array, list, and files. So they've just asked you. So it derived from the primitive data structure, and examples you can just write it as arrays, list, and files. Don't get confused. Clear? So we'll go to the 30th question. So what is a pointer? Explain pointer declaration with syntax and example. So what is a pointer? Pointer is a variable. It stores the address of another variable. Okay, so how do you declare a pointer? Pointer we declare it as int star p. This is the standard pointer we declare it. So let's generalize now. What is int? Int can be float also. Int, float, char, double, class also. So we'll just generalize. Data type star p. Is it p? It can be any identifier, right? So int star p is the example. So this is going to be the syntax. Basically used to store the address of another variable. Remember, if you want to store the integer variable address, you have to declare an integer variable. If you have to store a class object address, you have to declare a pointer of type class, not int, not float. It will not work. Remember that. So we have 31st question. Write the basic operations performed on binary files in C++. The most commonly asked question, and it is repeated also. Is the point clear? So what are the basic operations performed on binary files? So we can search some element in the binary file. We can append some data here, inserting data in the sorted files. Okay, deleting a record, modifying a data. If you just mention these, that's more than enough. You need not have to explain on this. You can just mention this. Remember, basic operations are these only. Okay, it's going to be an inserting, deleting, modifying, appending, searching. It's all the same only. Clear? So you should remember the heading. That's important. So we'll go to the 32nd question. Explain the 3 levels of data abstractions. So what are 3 levels of data abstraction? It's RDBMS architecture, we call it. Physical level is also known as an internal level. Physical level is also a physical schema or physical level or internal level, where we speak about the low level data structure, how exactly the data is stored in the secondary memory. That's what we discuss here. Conceptual level, logical level, conceptual schema or logical schema. So here we're going to discuss about, describe the table, what are the different types of constraints we have it, how do we relate one table with another table, so how do we restrict the data that is entering into the table so that we can have more accuracy. Constraints, so we have primary key constraints, foreign key constraints and all, no? So all those things will be dealt in the conceptual level or logical level. So we have a view level, external level. It's basically data related to a specific user. So here in any RDBMS architecture, we can have only one physical schema, one logical schema or conceptual schema, but we can have multiple external level. We can have multiple external level, multiple views. The same data what I view. Okay, we have a database stored. So according to my needs, I will view a different data, and according to his needs, he will have a different data, and according to another person, so we can have different views of the same data, isn't it? So in Google, it's not that whatever I'm searching, the same person is searching the, like looking for the results. It may be same also, it may be different also. So that's what they're telling. So any RDBMS architecture, we can have one physical schema, conceptual schema, but we can have multiple view level, multiple external level based on the user interest or requirement, I can tell. Clear? So we'll just go to the 33rd question. So 33rd question is what? Define the terms here from the Internet and Open Source chapter. Define proprietary software, www, and e-commerce. What is proprietary software? It's neither open nor freely available. Its use is regulated. Okay, further distribution and any kind of modification is either forbidden, or if you want to use it, you need some kind of permission, some kind of license you need it from the vendor for using it. So that's going to be proprietary software. What is World Wide Web? It's basically a set of protocols that allows you to access information on the internet using the URL. That is Uniform Resource Locator. What is e-commerce? E-commerce is basically buying and selling of goods using an internet is called as e-commerce. So we'll just go to the next question, 34th question. So write the respective HTML tags to produce link from one web page to another web page. So to create a link, so to create a hyperlink, we called it. That's going to be what? Use an anchor tag. We make use of an anchor tag here. Then to insert an image in the web page, we make use of an tag called img. So img src, this is going to be the source. You can just write the path here. So where exactly the image is stored, you can write that path. So you can just, in general, you can write as path where exactly the image is stored. To add a background color to the web page, so its background color, body bg color is equals to red. It's any color which you want it. So body bg color basically sets the background color for the web page. So that's about section C. So we'll just start with the section D now. It's going to be 5 markers. We'll just continue. So we have an algorithm to perform insertion sort method to sort the elements. So what is sorting? Sorting is arrangement of elements either in ascending order, descending order, that you already know. So here in case of any sorting technique, I already told you what are the 3 important things. So what are the 3 important things that you need to remember for any sorting techniques? So for example, I have a number like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I need to sort it. So 5, 4 definitely it should not be there. 5 being the highest, no. So it should be, let's consider that I need to sort it in the ascending order. 5 cannot be placed in the beginning itself. So what I'll do, First thing, I'm going to swap it. Okay, I'm going to change, isn't it? So looking at the numbers itself, I'm coming to the conclusion. So what is that? That means we are doing comparison. So comparison is required here, and I have to keep comparing many times, not just one time. Looking at two numbers, will I be able to sort it? Definitely not, isn't it? Looking at just two numbers, I cannot sort it. I need to compare many times. Many means what? Repetition. Repetition means what? Two. Loops. So two loops is required. So two loops, comparison is required, and I need to interchange, no? I need to swap it. So swapping technique is required. Is the point clear? Two loops, one comparison and swapping technique is required. So this is going to be an insertion sort. You can just go through here. We have a for loop, we have a while loop here. This is going to be the comparison here, and this is we have a swapping technique. Is the point clear? So how do we compare in case of an insertion sort? So before I tell the logic of insertion sort, remember that algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a given problem. So how do we write it? You're going to start with explanation of terms. We have an array A with n elements. We have I, like t is the temporary variable, then I is the iterative variable, ij are the iterative variables. Like that, you can explain all the terms here. Write in terms of steps. Wherever a constructor is there, you have to close it. You have to end it. End, while, end if, end for. Clear? So what is the logic here? So let's consider it is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start with, so 0, 1, sorry. So this is going to be my elements. So this is going to be my, so let's consider the elements 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's take the index as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It has to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 only, isn't it? So elements, let's consider the elements, and let's, take the index as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because index is fixed here. Right. So now what do? I'm going to start I being placed here and j also being placed here. Okay, see, I is placed 1 till 4 and minus 1. Remember, whenever we are having 5 elements, I'm going to compare only 4 elements, because 2 elements at a time, no? So we have n elements means n minus 1 comparison only we're going to do it. So similarly here, what do? Okay, so I is pointing to 1 and j is also pointing to here 1 only. So 1, 0 is compared. When I equals to 1, okay, j is equals to also 1 only. So I'm going to compare 1 and 0. Okay, then it will be decremented. Okay, if it is more, definitely 5 is greater than 4. I'm going to swap it now. So it's 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. We have it. Then what do? So then what do? I'm going to compare with 0 and minus 1. This is 0. 0 with minus 1 I can't compare. That's the reason we are taking a value of j should be greater than equal to 1, so that I can make a comparison with j and j minus 1. 0 with minus 1 I can't compare, no. So that's why we are taking only till 1. Only till 1. Okay, so this is done. Okay, it will stop. Then I equal to 2. J is also 2 now. So we're going to compare with 2 and 1. 2, 1 will compare. 2, 1 I'll compare. Okay, this is going to be one comparison. 2 and 1 I'm going to compare. It is 3, 5, 4, 2, 1. Then I'm going to compare with 1 and 0. So 4, 3 I'm going to compare. Yes, of course 4 is greater than 3. 4 is greater than 3. This is j and this is j minus 1. It is greater, so I'm going to swap it. 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. Okay, so then I cannot compare anymore. 0 with minus 1 I can't compare. I'll stop it. Then we'll come back to I equal to 3. I equal to 3 means j also 3. J is also same only. Same as that of the I only. So I'll compare with 3, 2. 3, 2. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3, 2. Swap it. It's 2, 5. 4, 3. Then 2, 1 I have to compare. 2, 1 I have to compare. Yes, 4 is greater than 2. You interchange now. 3, 2, 4, 5. Then you compare with 1 and 0. 1 and 0 you compare it. So again I have to swap it. It is 2, 3, 4, 5. Is the point clear? So next again 0 with minus 1 I can't compare. I'll just stop it. I'll come out of this loop. I'll come out. I'll just re-enter the I loop. I equals to 4. J is also 4 now. Okay. So what is it? So I'm going to compare with, let me erase the part which I don't need it. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Okay, so this is how. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm supposed to compare with what? 4, 3 I have to compare. So what is 4, 3? 4, 3 is going to be this. So just swap it. No, 5 is greater than 1. So I have to swap it. Now it's 5, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. So then I have to compare with 3, 2. Compare with 3, 2. So 3, 2 is what? This, no, index. So 4, 1 is compared. So 4 is greater than 1. You swap it again. 1, 4, 5. So 3, 2. Okay, then I have to compare with what? 2, 1. So 2, 1 you compare, this is going to be 1 and 3. So again it is greater. So it is 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. So again 1 and 0 you compare, 1 and 0, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again 0 is compared with minus 1, it cannot be compared because j should be greater than or equal to 1. That's where the loop ends. That's where the loop ends. It's re-enter I equals to 5. So it should be less than n minus 1. Allah. It does not satisfy the condition, comes out of the loop, and that's it. And our elements is already arranged. It's done. Got the point? So remember, any kind of sorting technique, what do we need? 2 loops, 1 sorting techniques, 1 sorting technique. What am I telling? Sorry. So it is 2 loops we needed, 1 comparison we needed, and 1 swapping technique we needed. 2 loops, comparison, and swapping technique. That's the point here. So we'll just go to the next slide now. Explain the operations performed on Q. What is Q? Q is basically a linear data structure that follows the principle called FIFO. That's going to be first in, first out. What are the operations performed on FIFO? What are the operations performed on Q? That's going to be Q itself to create an empty queue. And here insertion and deletion takes place from 2 different ends. Insertion takes place from the rear end and deletion takes place from the front end, right? So inserting an element to the queue is called as NQ operation, and we usually insert from the rear end of the queue. And DQ is basically removes the element from the queue and it's removed from the front end only. We call it as a DQ. Remember, DQ, there is also a type of queue. Don't forget that. Is empty test whether the queue is empty or not. And similarly, we have size. It returns the total number of elements present in the queue. As the point here, returns the number of items present in the queue. So these are the operations performed on queue. Similarly, they may ask you operations performed on stack as well. So we'll go to the 37 questions. Write the applications of OP. Please write what is there in the textbook. Don't refer. It definitely you can find n number of applications, but valuation will be restricted to the scheme of valuation whatever provided by the PU board. Please write what is there in the textbook itself. So it can be CAD/CAM. So it is computer-aided designing, computer-aided manufacturing, graphics, object-oriented database, user interface design, real-time system, simulation and modeling, artificial intelligence, client server system. Any of these applications, if you just mention, that's more than enough. That's more than enough. You need not have to explain this. Okay, we'll go to the 38th question. What are the characteristics of friend function? Friend function is a non-member function which can access, which is the privilege for accessing the protected and private members. So here you can just see here, although not member function, it has a full access rights to access the private and the protected members. So here a friend function cannot be called using an object. So using an object you cannot call the friend function. Then how do we call a function now? How do we call a function? A friend function usually will be called normally. That means how do you call square root? I'm going to call a square root as SQRT only, no? So similarly, when you have to call a friend function, call the function as it is without using an object. We don't use an object here. Okay, so here it can be invoked like a normal function, and whichever class you're using a friend function, no, that function declaration should be present in that class. See, friend function is declared by the classes that is granting access. Okay, it can be placed anywhere in the class irrespective of the access specifiers. It is not specific with respect to the access specifier, not affected by the access control keyword. That means private or public, anything it can be. So it cannot access the members directly. It's through object only. It is through object only it can access. Remember, friend function always takes an argument of type class. Friend function always takes an argument of type class because it cannot access directly. Through object only it can access. Friend function keyword will be used for the friend keyword. There is a friend keyword, no? So that will be used for the declaration, not for the definition. Not for the definition. Okay. So dot operator is a member access operator. So we will use, as I told you, it's basically, when you have to access the members through object only, we will be accessing it. So dot operator, we use it. And function is declared with the keyword friend, but not for the definition. And since it's a non-member function, we will not use a scope resolution operator also for defining that function. Is the point clear? So we just define it normally, we just call it normally, but accessing it, we cannot access it directly, but through object, through dot operator only. Is the point clear? Yes. So we'll go to the 39th question, explain this destructor with syntax and example. So what is a destructor? Destructor is basically a special member function of class which is having same name as that of the class name. Basically, it will be invoked as soon as an object goes out of the scope. What does it do? It's going to deallocate the memory space when an object goes out of the scope. And what is the name of the destructor? Same name as that of the class name. Then don't you think it's having confusion between constructor and destructor? Definitely no doubt only. Destructor is always preceded by tilde. Okay, always preceded by tilde. Okay, so we'll just 1 minute. So it is destructor they have asked. Let me make some changes with respect to the slide only. So they have given 1 minute. It's the destructor or the default constructor. It's going to be this destructor only. So I have made some mistake here. So let me just correct it. Remember, destructor is a special member function which is having same name as that of the class name. Whole thing is the class definition, no students. Whole thing is the class definition here, and we have a constructor here. It's a constructor here. What will I do? For the destructor, it is preceded by tilde. Destructor is a special member function only. You can define it inside, it can be defined outside. Okay, it should be under public. That and all is the same. No return type specifier. Okay, it will not take any argument. That is important here. It is preceded by tilde operator. It is preceded by tilde operator. This is, you should not forget. Okay, and after this, so this whole thing will be the destructor. So this whole thing will be the destructor. And what do we have as an example for destructor? Sorry, this is not going to be the default constructor. It's going to be the destructor now. So if you have to make it now, I'm just going to erase this part. I'm going to make it as tilde test. So this is going to be the name of the class. This is going to be the destructor now. So what will I write? I'm going to write it as destructor called. Destructor called. So destructor called one statement, if I write it, let's consider what is the output. It's interesting. What is a destructor? Special member function which is having same name as that of the class name, preceded by tilde, and it is automatically invoked when an object goes out of the scope. Let's consider an object. Where is the object here? This is the class definition. So this is going to be the destructor, preceded by tilde, having same name as that of the test only. Now what do we do? Here we have an object here. When an object is there, constructor gets invoked. Anyway, constructor is not there. Now I changed it. In this test T, when does the scope of this, what is the scope of this object? The scope is there till the main function is there. When it goes out of the scope, when it goes out here, that means the scope is not there. When an object goes out of the scope, this is automatically called. You can just see here, if you execute this program, you're going to get an output as destructor called. What? Destructor called. So you have an output as destructor called. Even though I'm not calling explicitly now. Explicitly I'm not calling only. So when an object goes out of the scope, this destructor will be called. If I write some statement only, I'll get to know. No, or else memory will be deallocated. How will I get to know? So just to ensure that it is called or not, I've just written one statement called cout here. Is the point clear? So we'll just go to the next slide. So what is inheritance? Inheritance is basically a mechanism, or is basically a process by which one class acquires the properties of another class. Okay, a derived class acquires the properties of the base class. Is the point clear? So what is inheritance? Inheritance is basically, I know it's a mechanism by which one class acquires the properties of existing class. Existing class is also known as parent class, base class, superclass. So this derived class is also known as child class or subclass. So two types of inheritance we have to explain here, single level inheritance and multi-level inheritance. Remember, when you're explaining inheritance, you need to write the block diagram. Very, very important. So how do we write it? So this is going to be a class which is derived from a single base class. A class which is derived from a single base class is called single level inheritance. A class which is derived from a base class, and we use this derived class to derive in another class. Okay, we use the derived class to derive in another class is known as multi-level inheritance. So you can just see the definition here. A class which is derived from a single base class is called as single level inheritance or single inheritance. If a class, derivation of a class from another derived class, derivation of a class from another derived class is known as multi-level inheritance. What? Derivation of a class from another derived class is known as multi-level inheritance. Is the point clear? So we'll go to the next question. Give the measures for preventing the computer virus. I think it's the most common question, and in general also you'll be able to write the answers for this, but don't miss this. So try writing more than 5-6 points. You'll be able to get the marks for this. So what are the different measures? Always scan it, never boot, okay, your PC from the floppy, or write protect your disk, or make regular backup, license software, keep the strong passwords, antivirus you should use it, and you should keep the antivirus updated. Some of the antivirus we have not done, AVT, Avasta, Orquick, Heal, K7, Kaspersky. So all these you can write it. Antivirus, updating it, keep the system, like operating system updated, isn't it? So you should not, use the pen drives, use the cloud. So many more points you can write for this. In general, if you write also, you'll be able to get the marks. So what is the question? It's going to be based on K-map now. So we'll just write the empty K-map first. So write the empty K-map now. Empty K-map carries 1 mark. Okay. Then we have, it's all ABCD. Empty K-map 1 mark, then marking 1 mark. Oh, I'm sorry. What is this I'm doing? So it is AB. I'm just going to write AB here. See, empty K-map, this empty K-map will carry 1 mark. Okay. And after this, okay, it should be CD. ABCD, right? So it is making me to write only AB. Why not CD? So we'll write AB, and CD. So it is gray code. It's very important that you make use of a gray code. So what is gray code? 0. Oh. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. So it's going to be wherever 0 is there, you negate it. So see, 0, 0 means you cannot write AB whole bar, CD whole bar. It's wrong. AB whole bar is what? A bar plus B bar. That's wrong. Okay, you have to write C bar separate, D bar separate. So we'll just number it now. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So now we'll just mark it now. So we're going to mark it. So mark the minterms. Each square represents a minterm. Each square here represents a minterm. That means what? This is going to be M0, M1, M3, like that. It's going to represent a minterm. Wherever a minterm is there, no, you just have to mark it now. So it's 0, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 12, 13, 15. That's it. So let me just count it. It's going to be 9, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, So 9 are there, so we have not missed out. So let's group it now. Grouping should be based on what? Empty K-map 1 mark. Okay, let me write it again. So it's going to be empty K-map 1 mark. Okay, it's 1 mark. Then we have it's 1 mark. Okay, then we have marking of ones. Marking will carry 1 mark. Then we have grouping based on octet, quad, pair and a single based on the priority, that will be 1 mark. Reduced expression for each group, it's going to be 1 mark. Final result will carry 1 mark. So totally 5 marks. Is the point clear? So we'll just group it now. So grouping, I'll just go for an quad only. Anyway, octet is not possible, so quad only we have to go. This is going to be Q1. Okay, so I'm going to use different colors here. We'll use different color here. So this is going to be another group. This is going to be Q2. Okay, I'm going to use this color. So this is left out. I'm going to use this Q3 here. And I'm going to make use of another color. Blue will use blue. So see, this is left out. Students, ensure that any term which is missing, you cannot leave it single. You can go for pair, you can go for quad, you can go for octet. But what is the priority? Priority is octet, quad, pair, single. So this I can pair it also. I can make it single also. I can pair it also. I can also have a quad here. Octet not possible. So let's go for the more priority ones. Quad. So this is going to be my another quad called Q4. Okay, so we'll just write the final expression now. So what is the final expression? It's going to be Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4. So what we have, Q1 is what? Q1 is the common is what? It's going to be A bar. Okay, it's going to be A bar. See, you can just see here, common is A bar. And what is common between these two? It is C bar. What is Q2? Q2, the common is A bar and D. A bar and D. And Q3, what is common here? Q3 common is B, C bar. B, C bar is the common. And Q4, what is common here? It's B, BD. Okay, BD, and this is going to be what? F of ABCD. So this is how you're going to get the marks. Is the point clear? So it's not that you have to write a very big expression and then try solving it many number of steps. Now looking at the terms itself, I think you'll be able to understand which is the common factor, where is the one present, and which terms you have to look at it, and then take the common factor and then write it. Is the point clear? So this is how we solve the K-map. So we'll just go for the next question. Next question is define a class named rectangle with following criteria. So you're supposed to define a class called rectangle. What are the data members? Length and breadth is there. So two functions is there. One is going to be an input function, another going to be an output function. Define member function outside the class to input and output length and breadth of the rectangle. Very simple, nothing to compute. Read class, define a class called rectangle. Two variables are there, two data members. Two function, input function, output function. So nothing to compute as such. So we'll have a function. I'll just come this side. So we have a class called, what is this whole thing? This whole thing is called as the class definition. Is the class definition. We have class definition called rectangle, and we have two data members. That's going to be length and breadth. We have two functions here. One is called an input function, another is going to be an output function. Input function, basically it's used to read the data from the user. So enter length and breadth, read it. Output is what? It's going to be see out length and breadth. Remember, they asked you to define this function outside the class. When you have to define this function outside the class, declaration should be there and you're defining a function outside. How to define a function outside the class? Whenever you're defining a function outside the class, make use of scope resolution operator. So how do you write it? You're going to imagine an arrow between the return type specifier and the function name. Imagine an arrow and replace that arrow by class name and the function name. Class name and the scope resolution operator. Same as it is right here. What is there? Class name, scope resolution operator, input. So this I'm defining it outside. Imagine an arrow here. Replace that arrow by class name and scope resolution operator and output. Now we have a main function. What is there in the main function? Declare an object, call the function. Declare an object, call the function. How do you call the function? It's going to be an object dot function name. Is the point clear? So this is going to be the class definition. Object declaration is also nothing but class declaration. So we have a last question here. Using given SQL table, write the appropriate SQL query. So we have a table here. Student table is there, register number, name, DOB and marks is there. Some tuples are also there. Develop the table with above fields. You need to create a table and insert the table. Insert the tuple that carries 1 mark. Empty table if you create, you're not going to get the marks. Creating a table and inserting the tuple carries 1 mark. Total number of students, highest marks, lowest marks, and all the student information to be displayed. So we have to create a table now. So how do we create a table? We make use of a command called create table, table name. Create table, table name, register number int. Then we have name varchar, DOB, date, marks int. Remember, wherever char, varchar and date is there, include the values with respect to quotes here, including the quotes, I mean to say. Insert 3 tuples. Okay, insert into table name values. See here, for the name and for the date, we have a single quote. I think, have I missed the single quote? I've opened it, closed it, opened it, closed it. Yes, it is there. So 3 tuples we have included, and total number of records. So we can make use of a count star here. Select count star from table name. Maximum marks I'm supposed to get it. So select maximum marks from student. And then we have a minimum marks. Make use of a function called min. Function here, select min marks from student. All the records to be displayed here. Select star from student. Okay. So we have covered. All the questions and all the answers, students. So that's it for today. So if you have any doubts, so do post it. We'll definitely address them. Thanks for watching. Thank you once again.